pjnet.tv, 9 o'clock East Coast of the United States time, and we are running a bumper. Yep, and we're recording, streaming, all synced up with all the servers and all the destinations, and we have Lori standing by, and the chat room is people starting to drift in. They must be Baptist, they're going to come at the last minute. We'll start a countdown to Studio 11. Well, good evening and welcome, all of you, all four of you, to pjnet.tv. And I'm Coach Prasick, and this is the most fun job in the world. Here we are in Studio 11. I reserve this for when we have two female guests back to back. Now, many of you know, because it is the second Wednesday of the month, you already know that Lori Hayes comes our way at this time and brings us up to date on her ventures, her adventures, and her misadventures. And here she is all the way from her beautiful home with her beautiful scenery, behind her. You took those pictures, did you not?
I sure did.
Oh boy, it's beautiful. So everything's good. Say it again.
Two of them are of Hawaii, and the other one is of the wild horses on the Outer Banks.
Okay, I can decode from that which ones are which. Okay, you got it. Okay, so Lori, last time we talked, you were where were we? I think it was you were on the verge of submitting your book and whatever and releasing. Where it was, and you had taken multiple trips to the beach as part of your stress management therapeutical. Do you get to write that off? Is that doctor's orders?
I could probably write the mileage off, actually.
Charge it off to your insurance. It's like, try it. So, but a month has gone by and so much can change. We went from everything is under control to the wheels come off and everything's happening at once. All the channels are playing at once. Life can be complicated.
Yes. It's been a whirlwind. I thought when I turned my book in, everything was just going to get better, but it just seems to have snowballed. I have all kinds of things going on. And if everybody would pray for my daughter, that would be really helpful as well. That's a big stressor. It just feels like all the doors are closing. And there might be a few doors that are cracked open, but I feel like I have no idea which way to go. So I know that it's God's timing and I'm just waiting. But at some point, it feels like I've reached the end of the road and I don't know which way to go. So I'm just trying to manage that. And sometimes it's hard to know which way what God is wanting you to do and which way you're trying to control and make happen. But not in the things that are feeling good, those doors aren't cracking open. So it's a confusing time.
Well, you're in many ways, when we were talking before we came on the air, is it possible that you tend to keep too much on your plate? I do.
I'm sure I do.
2 jobs. Yeah. Single mom. How many children?
I have 2 at home and 1 older one.
Okay. Everything's in 2s. 2 jobs, 2 books.
There.
So how do you manage?
Open something. I usually find that this happens right before I hit a huge growth spurt. That's something that I'm trying to hold on to. I just know that if I make it through all this, or when I make it through all this, that light's going to be shining and things are going to look awesome.
Looking back, have you ever felt you've been in this situation before where everything's due at once or just one crisis after another?
Yeah, it seems like it's been like that for about 6 months now.
Well, I was hoping to, yeah. I was fishing for something else, but that's what I got. Yeah.
Yeah. I had some really awesome moments, and then here it comes again, all this stress, and then, then I have some awesome moments, but I'm really waiting for some longer awesome moments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How's your health?
Um, I think it's okay. I have a couple of stressful scares, and but I think everything turned out to be okay. I think it was just stress. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, gosh, it was a year ago that you were bragging about being able to walk to your mailbox. Was that sound? Remember that? You went and
yeah,
got your mail. So.
yes, I had COVID, which I'm pretty sure I did, and I just walked down to the mailbox, which I do have a rocky driveway, and it is on an incline, but believe me, it's not that far and it's not that steep. I should have been able to walk down to my mailbox and walk back up without having to rest 3 times and taking a 2 after.
Well, and so I say that to kind of remind you to there are things to be grateful for, to be thankful for. I'm in. It's not the same, but I have too much on my platter most of the time. And
Yes.
today, I stayed up last night working on our animation project, and my usually 4 hours of sleep, is good. And as long as I get that hour turbo nap in the afternoon. So today, as usual, I just laid down for an hour turbo nap. 5 hours later, I wake up. I realize it's dark outside. So there's a point at which your body says enough.
Definitely. I
Are you
feel
there?
like that point, and I'm trying really hard to have gratitude every day, and I'm trying to appreciate anything that I can. It doesn't even matter if it's the color of the sky, just as long as you're appreciating something. I think that it kind of resets something inside you. And, and I'm trying to work on self care. I don't care if it's a long bath, if it's reading a book. I never watch I never watch TV, even if it's binge watching Netflix. I watch the Firefly Lane because one of my favorite authors wrote that, so that was fun. Just doing some self care, and as we talked about, humor is a funny thing, a good way to do self care. And I had a little funny story that happened to me today that really lifted my mood, and everybody at my work got a huge laugh out of it, and it just kind of broke through some of that tension. And I wanted to share that with you, but a patient of mine gave me a pair of shoes. She said they were brand new and that she'd never worn them, and they just didn't fit her, and she didn't know how to return them or anything. So she gave me these shoes, and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And they fit, they were my size. um I brought them home, and I didn't think much of them. And this morning I was getting ready to go to work, and I thought, oh gosh, I really need to wash my tennis shoes. Maybe I'll just wear these. So I put them on, and they did not like that picture. And I I go into work, everything's good, they're comfortable. Go into work, and I'm hanging up my jacket in the closet and putting my backpack in there, and I felt my shoe do something kind of weird. And so I kind of looked down, and one of my coworkers said, "What's that on the floor?" And I turned around, and part of the sole of the shoe had fallen onto the floor. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to survive this all day?" And I thought, I guess I could walk like this. It's not too bad.
Duct
So we
tape.
super glue, and we couldn't find any. So I just threw it in the trash can, and it was a little awkward walking, but the more I walked, the rest of the sole started coming off. Right? The whole darn thing came off. And my workers were just laughing. It was hilarious, especially since it was my patient. They gave it to me. So no sole, and I don't know if you've ever seen a shoe without a sole, but it's like wearing a slipper.
I was going to say it's like a sock. What you should have done is tried to remove the sole from the other side and say these are these new fashion shoes that are like slippers. They're socks that look like shoes.
Well, mind you, I work in healthcare, so I was really hoping not to step on anything wet, nasty, you know. And then on the call, and they're laughing, and I see the patient. We have an atrium, and I see her over the rail. She's looking at me, smiling, and I looked up the good foot, up real high, and showed her that I was wearing the shoes, and she was just tickled to death and smiling and happy. I didn't show her the shoe that had no sole on it. So I have 2 patients that I have to walk outside. So the first person, we go and we walk outside, like 73 degrees, it's beautiful. We're walking, and I feel my you're doing something weird again. I thought, oh gosh, don't even look. By the time we get inside, little pieces of it were falling off of the good stuff. And and then I took the next person out. Before I took the next person out, I looked down and the whole sole's coming off the second shoe. So finally I pulled it off, and my boss and my coworker are laughing this whole time. So I walk in and I just set the sole on his chair. And later on I hear him just cackling and laughing, and I knew he found it. So then I had to go out and walk my next patient outside, and we walked around the building. Mind you, I have no soles on my shoes. I'm walking in slippers outside. And, and it was absolutely hilarious. So this happened in a 3-hour period. And I told them, I said, since I have a longer lunch today, I have to go buy shoes. And he said, well, why? You only have a couple hours left. Can't you survive?
Yeah.
I'm like, what if I step in something wet and nasty? And so they thought that was funny. So at lunchtime, I had to go buy a brand new pair of shoes. And it came back. Everybody was asking to see them. And it was funny. And it just kind of broke through that tension.
Lori from the chat room, Ben Cooper says, we should pray for the lost soul. So what did you wash those shoes in? Because whatever it is, I want to avoid that.
I didn't wash them, actually. She said they were brand new. They looked brand new, and it was probably gross, but I trusted that she had never used them. So I wore them, and I don't think she did, but I think they dry rotted because I think she held a lot longer than she indicated. So I think they dry rotted right on my feet and fell apart.
You never know.
Self-care. That was my little piece of fighting the tension off with some humor.
Well, Lori, if it's any encouragement at all, I'm going to credit you. I'm pretty sure you're the progenitor of this. But you were a tremendous blessing to me and several others because apparently you posted a memory from a PJNet family picture.
I did.
That was you, wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm not this real mushy, sentimental kind of guy. I thought, well, I just kind of noticed it and didn't think that much of it. I was grateful, but I had no idea that it was going to go viral practically. It seems everybody piled on, but Doug Carter said that experience at that writers conference changed his life. And you know what? It changed mine too.
It changed mine too. That was the weekend I got an agent, and not long after that, I have 2 books that were bought, and so that was life-changing for me too.
It was life-changing for many of us, and I think when times get tough, it goes good. In fact, this is very spontaneous, folks. People send me books, okay? They don't know that I don't read, but anyway. There was just from the devotion the other day, it says, this, by the way, is from Lori Hatcher. I'm not going to find it and read it verbatim, okay? But it was on hope. And it says, as Christians, we base our hope on the faithfulness of God in the past. Our hope in the future is based upon our faith that God has demonstrated his faithfulness in the past. And I that post was more of a blessing to me than I realized at first, because I began to realize, it was through an unusual set of circumstances that I was there. I'm not a
Yes.
writer, not an author. What am I doing at a
No.
writers conference? And I have the relationships, the people that I met. I remember I was driving up there, and somehow, well, I took my daughter's advice. She was navigating, and she sent me on a tour of Georgia through every little small town. And I forget, but at some point I was on the phone with you, and I was thinking I was somewhere near Winston-Salem. I was lost. I was just driving around using the compass north. I need to go north, I think. But the relationships, the people that we meet,
Yeah.
and so many, and all of those people have been such a blessing in my life and a sustainer of hope. We have our hope in God, and that's important. Without it, we're hopeless. But it's not just God. We have hope and faith in each other. We take care of one another. We circle up the wagons, as JD said. So, when you're going through tough times, do you have a close group of people that you reach out to?
Yeah, my PJ Net family. And of course, author friends, and then I have childhood friends and new friends. But I really did feel like I was so excited to go to that conference because I knew I was going to meet Ben. I knew I was going to see Doug again. And, just to meet them and meet people and talk to them. And it felt like I was coming home and seeing my family. It was like a family.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know what the future holds, but I feel like it'll never be the same again, because COVID, the pandemic, has literally changed the social landscape. And a conference with, 20% of the seating capacity is available to be used. I mean, gosh,
I don't
everything's
know. I
going.
think things are, and at least where I work, I work in senior care, and we've been on and off. Well, we've been on some form of lockdown since this has started, but things are starting to open up, and they're talking about possibly making it so that our residents don't have to wear a mask in a small group if they're outside or they're in their apartments, or and maybe even opening up the dining room to full capacity. Again, we're waiting for our governor to say we can do that. But that's the closest to hope that this is ending. Now, we have all 100% had our immunizations, so that's part of the driving force behind the
Hmm.
change. But it's starting to feel like it's more normal again, because recently, about a month and a half ago, we had a small outbreak of the COVID in our building, which is terrifying with the elderly. But because we managed it so correctly, all the staff, we managed to just have 5 people. So for us to go from that to opening up the dining room, and we just opened it up so visitors could come in. I mean,
That's
that's the
huge.
that's huge.
That is.
So I hope, and I'm hoping that the same thing will be for the conferences.
I hope so too. Well, put it this way: we're just going to take it one step at a time, and we're going to take it together. And we can take some comfort. There's a strength in unity and in numbers. We're running out of time. You were all running full throttle, books and all that. Where do we stand on when are we going to see the book or
Okay, so
books?
the first book is coming out on June the 8th, and then my second book is coming out on October the 18th. And I'm going to try to have the book cover for you for the next month when I do this.
All
I'm
right.
There was a slight little error on one of them, and they had to fix it, so I didn't want to share it with the wrong information on it. So I turned in all of that. I believe I've seen the final copy. It was a PDF copy, and I got to send it out for endorsements. That was really a new thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we made some changes, and then I don't believe I'll see it again until it's out in print. So I don't know. This is kind of new for me since I'm usually into self-publishing, but and then I just got my second edits back for my second book. So, and honestly, I haven't even looked at them yet, but I'm going to. I have a couple days off work, so I'm going to work on it all weekend.
All right. Well, hopefully by the time we see you again on this stage, anyway, we'll be able to get an update. And there are storms in life, but the storms pass, and the peace is restored, and the sun will shine, and everything's good. But Lori, you're strong, and we believe in you, and we know you'll make it. So Godspeed, and come see the chat room. They're saying nice things about you in there. All right, appreciate it, Lori. Lori Hayes, right here on pjnet.tv. Well, I went and grabbed another camera angle for you. Hi, over there. And that is the side view of it's kind of in disarray right now, as it will be for the next few months. But nonetheless, always like to invite people into the PJNet Eagle's Nest broadcast facilities. You know what? It's been a wonderful evening thus far, but we're not done, because at the bottom of the hour, we will be visited by Michelle Medlock Adams. Now, I was on Facebook today. You never can expect. With Michelle, anything can happen. But boy, there sure were a lot of pictures of grandchildren. So she's, last time she was here, she told us she was headed to Memphis or somewhere for the weekend. Anyway, she'll tell you all about it, and she'll know what she's talking about. And I can't wait for that. That comes up at the bottom of the hour, just a few minutes from now. As I leave for now and get ready for the next segment at the bottom of the hour, I leave you with two questions. Together, they form a challenge. Here's question number 1. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? Question number 2. How long ago was that? Folks, there are storms in life. There are peaceful times in life. Both call for courage. May we never be satisfied with either answer.